Okay, I think we can get started now. Just so everyone knows again, this meeting is being recorded. And welcome to our Unmet Transit Needs virtual workshop. I'm Natalia Austin. I'm a Senior Regional Planner with Madera County Transportation Commission. We also have on Troy, who's our Deputy Director, and Evelyn, a Senior Regional Planner for MCTC. First, though, before we really get into everything, we'd like to have Evelyn give directions in Spanish on how to access the interpreting feature in Zoom for Spanish speakers that may have joined. And you'll notice that I will be talking a bit slower to allow Evelyn time to listen and interpret. So Evelyn, if you'd like to give those directions, please.
Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos a nuestro taller virtual sobre necesidades de transporte público insatisfechas. Mi compañera Natalia Austin es una planificadora regional con MCTC. Me acaba de presentar, voy a ayudar con la interpretación en esta tarde. Quiero confirmar que una vez que de estas instrucciones iniciales va a aparecer en la barra de abajo un icono que dice interpretación, así como está en la pantalla. Uno lo tiene que oprimir y una vez que lo oprima, entonces ya podrá empezar a escuchar toda la interpretación en español. Muchas gracias. Troy.
Okay, we'll give a few minutes for those who would like to transition and get to their designated channel. Okay. So to begin our workshop, we have a few polling questions so that we can get acquainted with everyone that has joined.
Para comenzar, tendremos algunas preguntas.
After that, I'll give a brief overview of the Unmet Transit Needs process and then how you can participate in it. Please hold all questions to the end of the presentation. And if you wish to provide a comment regarding unmet transit needs, we'll give some options on how to do that at the end. So let's get started with the poll questions. I'm going to launch them now. Okay, hopefully you can see these questions there. The first question is a way for you to tell us who you are, whether you're a resident of Madera County or maybe you represent another agency. The second question asks how you found out about our workshop. So this is helpful to us so that we know which methods of advertising have been successful. The third and fourth questions help us to understand how often you use public transit and which systems that you use within Madera County. So I'll give you a few minutes for you to answer those questions, and then we'll share the results. We'll give it another minute. Okay, I think I'll end the poll now and share with you the results. Okay, so it looks like we do have some that are residents of the county that have attended the workshop, so great, thank you for attending. We also see someone that works for the state of California that is also on the workshop so also thank you for joining us. It looks like social media was a popular way for people to find out about the workshop, so that's good information for us. So on question 3, a few of you answered that you never use the public transit in Madera County, and so maybe after this workshop things might change. And so I'll stop sharing that, and we appreciate you guys taking the poll because it's very helpful for us. So let's get into our presentation now. Okay. So let's start by explaining why we do the Unmet Transit Needs process every year. So MCTC is the administrator of the Transportation Development Act funds for Madera County.
El transporte para el condado de Madera.
In order to use those funds, we're required to identify the unmet transit needs of our county. The way the unmet transit needs are identified is through a citizen participation process where we receive comments from those who are transit dependent. So at a minimum, we must hold at least one public hearing per year. So you may have noticed on the flyer, it mentions a Social Services Transportation Advisory Council. So who are they? So by law, we are also required to establish a Social Services Transportation Advisory Council, or SSTAC for short. They advise our MCTC policy board regarding the needs of transit-dependent persons. The SSTAC is made up of individuals from various social service providers in our county, transit providers, and some are also transit riders like you may end up being in the future. So they are equipped to understand the issues that riders face when using our public transit system. So the SSTAC has 2 main tasks. 1, to receive public input regarding transit service needs. And 2, they annually make a recommendation regarding those needs to the MCTC policy board. So the SSTAC is a very important part of the unmet transit needs process. So to receive comments, we go beyond just holding that one required public hearing per year. We try to make it easy for citizens to submit comments using the way that's the most convenient for them. So we accept comments by phone, mail, email, comment forms, and through an online survey. We've also been hosting several workshops throughout the county to give residents an opportunity to learn about their unmet transit needs process and also to get assistance filling out comment forms. So far, we've gone to the community of Lavinia, the city of Chowchilla, and to the Frank Bergen Senior Center in Madera. We're in the middle of our virtual workshop right now, and Saturday we'll be going to North Fork. Our last workshop will be on March 19th at the Madera County Library. So as mentioned before, we're required to ask for comments, particularly from those who are transit dependent. Perhaps they're unable to afford a vehicle, Or maybe they're getting up in age or have a disability that makes a person rely on transit as their means of transportation. These are the individuals that we're looking to receive comments from. So there are specific definitions for what is considered an unmet transit need and reasonable to meet. So an unmet transit need is an expressed or identified need that is not currently being met through existing public transportation services. An unmet transit need also is a need required to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. So the MCTC Policy Board adopted this definition last year by resolution. So an expressed or identified need that is not currently being met through existing public transit services could cover a broad range of things. However, the SSTAC is looking for comments that identify locations in the county that do not have transit service at all, or it's unavailable at times when it's needed for essential life activities like work or school. The SSTAC also makes sure to pay attention to comments that reveal where accessibility could be improved for passengers with disabilities using the transit system. So some comments that we receive are of an operational nature, such as route connection issues or late buses. So while these issues are not considered to be an unmet transit need, they provide valuable insight on the overall condition of the transit system in Madera County and will be noted by the transit agency to aid in making improvements and changes wherever possible. So in order for an unmet transit need to be considered reasonable to meet, it has to meet minimum criteria as defined by the MCTC Policy Board. So if we look at those, for feasibility, they'll be asking, does it make sense? Does it comply with the law? Is there sufficient ridership potential? For community acceptance, would the new proposed service have community support from the general public and/or community leaders? For the benefit to population criteria, will it benefit the general
público en
public,
general o en particular a la población que depende.
such as seniors or persons with disabilities? For it to be cost effective, that's pretty self-explanatory. We do have to look at how much it's going to cost for this new service. Also, it needs to be consistent with existing plans. We would ask, does the new proposed service align with goals included in our major regional documents, such as the Regional Transportation Plan or the Short Range Transit Plan? So the SSTAC will analyze all of the comments to see if they meet the criteria to be determined reasonable to meet. So, after reviewing and analyzing all of the comments, the SSTAC will recommend to our MCTC Policy Board one of the following: that there are no unmet transit needs, or there are no unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet, or there are unmet transit needs including needs that are reasonable to meet. Then the SSTAC will make these recommendations for the City of Chowchilla, the City of Madera, and for the county separately. So last year, as a result of the unmet transit needs process, the finding for Madera County was that there are unmet transit needs that are not reasonable to meet. Some of the considerations included expanding service in Fairmead. So after the new community center is built, they plan to expand service out there to that area. Also, the county is currently evaluating providing microtransit to various communities. Microtransit is an on-demand, flexible service, much like an Uber or Lyft, but the vehicle will pick up multiple people at once in a smaller bus or a van, and then take them to a destination. Once it's launched, users will be able to access the service through an app, and they won't need to make an appointment like you would with Dial-A-Ride. For the City of Madera, it was determined that the unmet transit need that is reasonable to meet was to install shelters and benches at bus stops throughout the city. So the city has started installing shelters and benches, but it's still a work in progress. There have been a few delays in installation at stops along Highway 145 because of right-of-way acquisition, but the city is progressively moving forward on this. For the City of Chowchilla, it was determined that there are no unmet transit needs for fiscal year 2023-2024. So you can read more about these findings if you look at our analysis and recommendations report from last year. It's posted on our Unmet Transit Needs webpage on our MCTC website. And we'll be sure to put a link to it in the chat later on. So let's take a look at the timeline for this year's Unmet Transit Needs process. So if you notice at the top, we started the Unmet Transit Needs process for this year in February. Then in March, we've been holding the public workshops like the one we're having today. The required public hearing to receive comments will be on April 24th at the MCTC Policy Board meeting. And as a note, we'd like to let everyone know that due to unforeseen circumstances, the date was changed from April 17th to April 24th. So we've been advertising and making note of that on everything. But please note, the new public hearing date will be at the MCTC Policy Board meeting on April 24th. So attendees can attend in person or virtually. Then moving along in the timeline on April 30th, then the SSTAC will review all the comments that have been received and will make their recommendation to the MCTC Policy Board. So the Policy Board is the entity that makes the final decision on unmet transit needs. Then it's all compiled into a report and documented by the state. Then the transit agency will begin to find a solution for the unmet transit needs that were identified as reasonable to meet. So as was mentioned earlier, there are many ways to participate. One of the easiest ways is to fill out our online survey. So we'll put a link to the survey in the chat section. You can also give us a call or send in a comment in the mail or email. If you would like to provide your comments in real time to our MCTC board, then you can attend the public hearing, like I mentioned before, on April 24th. And then finally, since this meeting is being recorded, we can take verbal comments or written comments typed in the Q&A. And then I'll provide directions on how to do that on the next slide. But first, I'll put in the chat the link to our survey. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there are a couple options. So to be recognized to speak from your smartphone, tablet, or computer, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. So if you click near the top or the bottom of your screen, you'll see your controls. Click on the raise hand button to request to speak. And then you click on the same button to lower your hand. On Zoom, you might see the raise hand feature if you click reactions or by clicking more with the 3 dots. If you're participating by phone only, then please press *9 to alert the moderator of your desire to speak. When you're recognized to speak, then unmute yourself and state your name and the city or community of residence for the record. You'll have about 3 minutes to speak, but try to give as much detail as possible so that the SSTAC can understand the issue you are trying to describe. And as a reminder, we are recording the meeting, so just for your awareness. So we'll see if we have any questions or any comments at this time.
Yeah, we do have one in the Q&A.
Okay, so we have an attendee that made a comment that what we need in the mountains is medical transit to hospitals in Fresno or Madera or Mariposa. Okay, thank you very much for that comment. We'll be patient to give a little bit more time for people to think about their comment or question and then use the Zoom controls. They know they could be kind of odd. Okay, do you think we should just move on then to the end?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any hands raised or other comments. So I think we can continue.
Okay. So thank you for the one commenter about the medical transit to hospitals in Madera or Mariposa. So we'll make sure to forward that to our SSTAC for review, and then we'll have the final recommendation by the SSTAC in April. So thank you for participating and for that comment. Okay, so once again, thank you guys, everyone, for joining us. If you'd like more information on unmet transit needs, please take a look at our Unmet Transit Needs webpage. we'll put the link in the chat, and in fact, I think I did. It's right there. That's the second comment there. It's right there also in the middle of your screen. On that web page, you can find links to the survey and past analysis and recommendations reports. I also provided my contact information right there at the bottom right corner. Feel free to call or email with questions or to provide comments. And finally, don't forget to follow us on social media. So it's a really good way to keep up to date with what we're doing over here at MCTC. So thank you for joining us, and that concludes our workshop this evening.